Hey, welcome to Brotherhood Coaching. We got another live episode trying out some new software. See how this one goes. Today's episode is going to be ways to succeed with getting buy-in for change, right? If you're here, you're probably trying to impact your department, maybe your crew, trying to make things better. Maybe you're an instructor at the academy trying to make some change there. Wherever you're doing, you're trying to make some positive change. And what do we encounter when we're trying to make this change? That's bullshit. And this is the way we've always done it, right? That's always our response. Even there's times if it's not done correctly, that's probably going to be my response initially until I start thinking about it and understand, hey, I know it, we're not all fire chiefs, right? We all have a pecking order to play in the system. So if it comes down from the top, hey, it's what's going to happen. You can fight all you want. At the end of the day, that's how it's going to go. So let's talk about here because I've been successful with some change and I haven't been successful with change. And I want to share with you, what I learned with what I did and then what I've learned to help me hit the ground running. All right. So also at the end of this episode, I'm going to share some exciting news. I've been pumped. I just talked to my wife about it. She's like, hey, I'm happy you're happy. But it's something I've been working on for the past month and a half, trying to learn and critique. And I'm going to make that announcement at the end of this episode. But let's dive into how to make that positive change last and to make things work. So one of the first things you're going to see is make sure that's showing up good. Yeah. So what looks like resistance is a lack of clarity. So what am I talking about? Is people are going to resist something because they don't have that understanding yet. It's not as clear because when you're delivering something, you already have a good understanding of it. Maybe you're teaching a subject, you're trying to make a change over, you have that clear understanding. The problem is communicating to the receiver. And when you see that really when it comes to teaching, you have to teach at the people's level that they're at. You can't teach at your level. And so that's one of the key things with it is being as clear because pretty much that's the problem with communication. We think we're clear and guess what? We're not. That's why I do expectations. That's why I have rules of engagement. That's why I send out a daily agenda to my guys. We have a writing assignment board where everything goes on there. It's a lot of repetitive in nature, but when you're repeating the same thing, it becomes more clear. So that seems to be a pitfall with it. We're never as clear as we think we are. So if people aren't doing what you want, it's because you're not being as clear, right? I just brought up the other day to one of my guys about maybe it was a couple months ago, actually, before I left for when we had our second child. And, it seems to be hard to get the buy-in for the seatbelts. And, I kind of was getting pissed a little bit. And one of the guys said, he goes, hey, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal to you. Meanwhile, I thought I was very clear. But when someone comes to you like that, you weren't. Swallow your pride, get rid of your ego. You weren't as clear. When you're not getting the buy-in, you're not being as clear. So, I'm going to explain a little bit what you can do to be more clear. But we're going to talk about something else real quick. If you want people to change, you must provide crystal clear direction, kind of what we talked about before. A lot of times we'll just say, hey, do this. And, we get a lot of stuff maybe through policy changes or with an email. I don't learn that well through just written word. I'm more of a visual learner. Show me, maybe get a video on it, whatever it may be, and I'm going to have a little bit better understanding with it. If I have to read it, there's a lot of misinterpretation that can happen. Actually, I just had a buddy of mine call me up. He wants me to help him with a SWOT analysis for a paper he's got to do. He goes, hey, can I just email it to you or maybe we'll talk on the phone? I said, hey, do this. Email it to me. I'm going to jot down my notes. And then let's talk on the phone because I can clarify some statements better when you had that direct feedback as opposed to just written word where there's a lot of room for misinterpretation when you just keep it to just written word because you're only stimulating, people can read it. They're not also hearing it and seeing anything. It's just that written word. And the more senses we use, the more almost it's like immersion it happens and there's going to be a better understanding. What looks like a people problem is often a situation problem. It's kind of like environment. If you get the environment right, you're going to produce quality results. And that was kind of the theme of write my book, Fix Your Firehouse, was, hey, I started seeing everybody that came into our station, no matter where they were, left a couple pegs higher or just kept succeeding, whether it was getting more incentives, adding up, taking on more responsibility, getting more involved with the department, promoting, whatever it may be. Everyone's getting better. So, hey, we have a successful environment Why can't we fix it? Now, there's other environments where people go to and maybe they're getting a little more lazy. Maybe they're getting negative, whatever the case may be. So the environment's not right. So a lot of times we want to jump to it's a person problem and we don't understand the environmental factors that's going on. Maybe there's an issue with the chain of command, information is not getting down as well, or it's not getting up. There's a lot of scenarios because let's face it, leadership is easy until you have to do it, right? Not everyone's qualified maybe to get the positions they are. They talk about the Peter principle, getting promoted on your abilities. Does it happen? Absolutely. So what can we do? We can develop ourselves and try to make sure that doesn't happen, but we're all going to slip up here and there. So don't always think it's a people problem. A lot of times it's just that it's a situation problem. So talked about 3 pitfalls there, but how do we sell it better, right? Well, maybe you've seen this before. Maybe you haven't. It's called why, what, how. When you're explaining something, you're basically going to explain the same thing 3 different ways. You're going to explain why you're doing what you're doing. You're going to explain what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, because all 3 will get to people differently. Some people are fine. Just tell me how you want me to do it and I'll be okay. Other people are like, just tell me what needs to be done. I'll get it done. And oftentimes a lot of us, especially maybe my age group, a little bit younger, we want to know why. If we can get behind that why, then we're going to want to do it. That means we're not just going to do it because you say so. We're going to do it when you're not there because we got the buy-in. So let's talk about some examples of using the why, what, how. All right. When I first got to my station, I made some cultural changes. When we used to come into the station in the morning, it was, a half-hour morning meeting, sitting around, and then guys would go out and get the trucks checked. And I never understood it. I actually, if you guys don't know, I hate meetings. Most of them I think could be an email, maybe even a text message or a phone call. I mean, I don't like getting together and not being productive with it. Let's just cut to the chase. Tell me what we got to get done and let's move on. So when I got there, I was going to change that culture with it. And I wanted the guys to check the trucks first because, first of all, we got to be ready and we got to make sure our truck's ready because that's how we respond, right? And that's how we're going to do our actual job. I experimented with doing meetings later on and eventually rolled into just doing a short roll call in the morning. But how I explained it in the beginning was, hey, this is why we're going to be changing this. Because what's the initial reaction if I just said, hey, how we're going to be doing things from now on, we're not going to be doing a morning meeting. We're going to be doing a roll call and then checking the trucks. People are going to be like, well, what's wrong with the way we've been doing it my whole career? And they're absolutely right. So I went in and told them, hey, this is why we're doing it. We're going to get a jump on checking the trucks. We're going to make sure we're good, that, there's no issues with it because you never know, shit before might have missed something. And we get to know about early on that if we got to go to the barn to get it fixed, we have enough time in the day instead of waiting until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning and finally trying to figure out a way to get out there because our facility to fix our vehicles on the other side of town. It's a little bit of a pain to get to. It's not an easy thing. And, I really didn't have much resistance with that and eventually formed into, morning time, about 7:05, I call roll call. We all get together, buy the trucks and give out the riding assignments, which most guys already know, but I just repeat it, the plan for the day and anything we want to work on. And then we start checking the trucks. All right. Another example I've got for you is riding assignments. Before it was just sit where you wanted and let's make it up, get on scene. That was one of the things I wanted to change, at least in my firehouse. And how I get the buy-in from the guys, I said, hey, we got to perform like a team. If you just start doing whatever you want, then I'm out of the loop. And we're not going to work cohesively if we all just do whatever we want, or I got to tell you, start shouting stuff on scene. And I told them, I'm going to give you this plan ahead of time. So it actually, what to expect. It's not a guessing game. And as I explained to them, I explained I want the nozzle behind me because if we get off the truck and I got to call an audible, they're not on the side of the truck just pulling a line. They're right there next to me. And they can also hand me the irons if we're running a 3-man crew on the engine. So explaining those ways, explaining each step, it was no brainer with it. The guys don't have an issue with it. We all function like that. They like it. They wish other stations did it. And there's very little resistance with that. Actually, that was none. Only time is maybe get someone floating in. They kind of don't have the full buy-in, but I don't have the time to go through everything. And but when you explain all 3 processes, it helps. So a third thing is we actually just changed our hose loads. We had a flat load, and now we're using a modified Minuteman load. And I was in for it. I didn't push for the change. Another company officer did, and they did a great job with it. But the thing is, when it came out, it was just said, hey, we're changing our hose loads, and this is what we're changing to. So the what was stated and how we're doing it was stated, but there's no why. And so this person, when they're going on training, was meeting some resistance. And until he explained, hey, there's nothing actually wrong with her flat load. However, it's limiting. And the minute you hit obstacles or you have more than a straight shot, it's going to take you more time and it's a lot more hard. It actually makes your job easier. It's a little bit more challenging to load, but it makes our job easier deploying. A one-man deployment on it can take a corner all by themselves, no issues. And once that why was explained and people were shown, they had the buy-in. The resistance wasn't there. So he wouldn't have had that resistance at the beginning when it was communicated, that why was communicated with it. But what do? We're overwhelmed with stuff. We don't want to take the time. And when you don't take the time to explain all these steps, it's kind of like not working out, but then going and trying to bench 300 pounds, right? You're going to have a harder time. Or if you spent the time working out, doing the proactive work ahead of time, when you actually go to do it, it's going to be easier. So the whole thing is, let's take the time, explain your why, your what, your how, and you're going to have less resistance. There's always going to be maybe a little bit, but you're going to have a lot less. Basically, you have to sell your idea. And when you're getting that resistance, it's just not sold. There's times you think about when you go to a grocery store and they're trying to sell you something, and they just come up to you and like, hey, I got this great deal for you, and you're like, hey, I don't want to listen to it. You know what I mean? They're not doing a good job of selling. If they did a good job of selling, you would have bought it, right? So if people are resistant to everything you're doing, you're not doing a good job of selling, and you got to regroup and go back after it. Same thing when I try to make changes or get buy-in for stuff. I learned early on, I'm like, man, if I'm casual about it, don't put the work in, there's always a no. But when I maybe call an audible, flank them from the side, and I put that work in ahead of time, I get the buy-in. I get the change I want to see. So I told you I had a special announcement. Actually, at first, I hope this helps you if you go about getting some change. It can happen. It's going to take work, and it's all about selling it. But the big announcement is, for the past month and a half, I've been trying to learn a little bit more about internet marketing and how to package some stuff better. And this is all very new. I've been a fireman this month, 20 years. All right. This is what I've done. And I've learned that I really have this passion for trying to teach guys some leadership and team building and those exercises. I really enjoy it. So what I've actually gone and done is I have another site called fixyourfirehouse.com. If you go to fixyourfirehouse.com, I've got a great offer going on right now. That offer is I'm offering Fix Your Firehouse. This book here, maybe some of you have already. Maybe you want to get more. I'm offering it for free. All I'm doing is asking you to cover the shipping and handling for it. I've got a warehouse, and I've got about 100 of them right now. And if I got to send more, I will. But that's what I got there. And basically, my plan is I want to get this in many hands as possible. Before, you can only get it on Amazon. But right now, you can head over to fixyourfirehouse.com. And I'm offering this book for free. Just cover the shipping and handling. And I've got another couple goodies on there if you guys are interested with it. It may not be for everybody, some of the other items, but if it's for you, it's really going to help. I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I was able to find some software and package everything up. And this is exciting because if this goes well, there's going to be more stuff that I'm going to try to get out there for you and help you along the way so you don't have to struggle and you have an easier time trying to do the right thing. So thank you for watching, being part of this episode. I hope you got something out of it. As always, if you did, please share this on up. This is how we're going to get the message out. Share it up with other people and spread the message. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will talk to you next week.